welcome to our podcast on the economic and social goals of different types of economic systems. So our question is, which economic system is best at achieving which social goals? So if you go back to the beginning of the year, we talked about classifying certain elements of social studies into three different areas: political, social, and economic. And we were able to look at certain elements of our society and classify those. And there certainly were overlap in many of those examples. For example, a certain law about the tax code, that's double. That hits a little bit of political realm because of the law part, but it's also economic because it deals with the tax code. So as we go forward from here, economists often look at the social end of a society and ask themselves, how can we as economists influence and benefit the social end of our society? And so as we go through this, we're going to define some potential social goals that a society may want to embrace, and then also examine which economic system seems to be the best fit for reaching certain goals. If a society has different goals, then perhaps an entirely different economic system is needed. Additionally, how much of any one of these social goals may cause a different system to be employed. So here are the goal categories that we'll be looking at. Which economic system is going to be efficient? Which is going to allow for the most freedom in terms of economic choices in the society? Which is going to be secure and stable? Which can also provide the most equity and fairness amongst a society? And which also provides for growth and innovation within a society? But let's go ahead and see what we mean by each one of these, and then we'll look at the different systems that could be the best fit for any one of these, or for all of them. So in the terms of economic efficiency, what we mean is there a certain economic system that is the most efficient to help people get what they want and need relatively quickly, relatively easily? So that's the demand side. But at the same time, is there an economic system that would maximize resource usage and profits for the people who are supplying the goods? In essence, do we have an economic system out there that would allow us to make the most with the least waste? Another goal that many societies could look at is the idea of economic freedom, where its citizens could have a lot of choice. They're not being told what to do by a government. If people are able to make their own choices, what kind of economic system would meet that goal? So is there a system out there that would allow people to choose what job they have, or as a producer, what to make, or when, or if, or what kind of business they might want to start as an individual? And then eventually, if they do start a business as a producer, what kind of people to hire? So is there an economic system out there that produces a lot of freedom for both the supply side of the economic question, but also for the demand side or the consumer side? Is there a system out there that allows for a lot of freedom throughout the society? Another question to ask is there an economic system out there that is relatively secure and provides some stability not only to the economic part of society, but also to the social part of society as well? Is there a system that does not have a lot of ups and downs in an economy, that can create or keep jobs and then keep prices relatively stable? That would help society at large if there's an economic system out there that could meet all of those, because it's very disruptive for society if prices are fluctuating all over the place, or if there's massive unemployment one year and then a shortage of people filling jobs the next. So is there an economic system in our continuum that might maximize this potential social goal? So another potential social goal a community may look at is the idea of equity and fairness. Is there an economic system out there that lets many people have approximately equal amounts of wealth, goods, and services, so that everyone seems to feel like they have what they need? That if people want something else, they can relatively easily get access to that. And as part of that, does that same system limit income inequality, where you have a certain amount of people who are exceptionally rich, but then you also have a portion of society that is exceptionally poor? Studies have shown that if that inequality exists, that can be very difficult for a society to sustain and can lead to more long-term problems. And then the last one we'd look at is the idea of growth and innovation. Is there an economic system out there that would encourage new ideas and products, that would make more products, hire more people, and basically just keep the society happy in terms of the newness factor or the innovative factor? Is there a system that would promote that better than other systems out there? So those are the 5 goals that many economists look at and ask themselves, is there an economic system that is economic in nature but has a spillover into the social realm of a society? So again, depending on where one is in the world, different countries and societies have different values on some of these things. Maybe a country doesn't really care about newness, but it does care about stability. Maybe it doesn't really care about equality, but it does care about having new innovations. So depending on the society that we're looking at, could help determine which economic system could best fit the goals of that society. And so which system is best? It is difficult to answer absolutely, because there are so many different cultures and societies and values out there that depending on what a group of people value, then we could look at which economic system would best match those goals. And there clearly are benefits and costs to all systems. Some systems may be great at creating equality, but poor in creating innovation. Some might be great allowing stability, but poor in creating freedom. What does the society value? That has to come first, and then which kind of system might benefit those. But when we go back through the checklist, and we're looking back at efficiency, freedom, security and stability, equity and fairness, growth and innovation, it seems like in recent history, the market economy, the free market economy, where the government in effect stays out of the economy, seems to be the best at addressing these 5 qualities better than others. And we can instantly say, but wait a second, the market system does not help all citizens on all of these criteria. And that's true. But what we're saying is, if we wanted to get our best effort at hitting all of these in a very well-rounded system, it seems like the market economy would be the best way to go. It is exceptionally efficient because people aren't going to waste materials because that's wasted profit. People aren't going to make too much stuff and throw it away because that's wasted profit. There is great freedom in the market system that people can start a business if they want or not. They can start whatever kind they want. People can get whatever job they're capable of getting. People can hire whoever they want. There is security and stability. That for the most part, prices stay relatively competitive with other goods in the market, and they grow at an adequate rate. We're not going to have massive times of shortage and then massive times of overabundance. The market is going to figure itself out for the most part. Equity and fairness is probably one where we have the most questions in terms of, does the market system really work? But overall, for many people, again, not all, the market system seems to be relatively fair because everyone has a chance to get into it and to find and meet their own self-interest. And then definitely in growth and innovation, the market system really does a good job of this. Because we have competition, because anybody can get into any part of the market, competition is there. It pushes companies to grow and to innovate and to come up with new stuff, which is always great for consumers. There are definitely trade-offs to this system, and we could go through each of those 5 qualities and find how the market system does not provide the perfect example of the mix between the economic system and society's needs because there are shortcomings to that market system. The traditional system or a command economy such as communism does offer more security. People know exactly which job they're going to get. People will be given a job and they will be given that kind of stuff. Therefore, there will be greater equality. Everybody gets what they need, but at the same time, there are trade-offs to those too. You might not have great innovation in a communist system. And if you value innovation over security, then a society may make a certain choice. If you value innovation over equality, you still may make another choice too. So while the market economy in recent history seems to hit these 5 social goals relatively well, of course there are trade-offs. Other systems could hit other ones better. But if you're looking for a well-rounded system, do you look at the traditional system? Do you choose something that is more command-based, where the government is in every element of the business? Or do you go to the other side of the spectrum and choose something like a market system? Each society has different values, and oftentimes the overlap between those economic systems and values makes the attempt to create a better society for its citizens. On one extreme, as we mentioned, you're going to have the traditional economies that are very primitive by nature. You're going to have the command economy, where the government is in every element of the economy and therefore in every element of society. You could have a mix of this where we have socialism. This is kind of a mixed economic system where some parts of the economy are going to be controlled by the government, but where other parts of the economy are not. They're going to be more free market based. So you may or may not have great innovation in a socialist system, but you might have other strengths such as equality and stability. So again, it goes back to what kind of things each society values, which economic system aligns with those values. And so the question becomes, well, where does the US fit? We've been told that we have a free market system, which in its most pure form would be no governmental interaction with any part of the economy. Very laissez-faire, as they say, which means hands off the economy. And so many people say, yes, we have, or we should have, a very and completely pure free market system where the economy is the economy, the government does what it does, but those two do not interact. And for many elements of our society, we do have a free market system. The fact that there are 18,000 different office supply companies shows that. Anybody can start a company to sell staplers, and we have the choice to go there or not. They can charge what they want. We have freedom to pay what we want. We have great competition in terms of different innovations and growth. But as you look at the U.S. economy a little bit more closely, you'll see that we have some elements that are not completely free market. We have some elements of socialism even in this. Now, of course, some people are going to argue that we have more socialism than others, and some are going to argue that we have too much. We're not trying to put a value judgment or have that value judgment debate over should we or should we not in this podcast. We're just pointing out the fact exists that we do not have a pure free market system. We do have some elements of socialism in our economy. For example, look at public schools. That's kind of a socialist endeavor. Public libraries. The government runs and operates that element of society. So if we want to become educated, we don't have to just take our dollars and enter the competitive market and get what we pay for. The government provides free and public education to everyone up to age 18. Now granted, there are those that want to introduce competition into public schooling, but the way the system has worked for many hundreds of years is that everyone is able to go, regardless of wealth, race, religion, class, etc. That's a very socialist value. Public library is the same thing. If you're poor and want to be able to better yourself through reading, you're allowed in. You don't have to pay for it. It's just provided by the government. The idea of roads and police and fire, provided by the government. You don't have to contract with individual companies in order to provide police protection to your home. You don't have to pay a toll to drive on every single road. They are provided by the government. Another element of our economy is the advent of Obamacare, which enters into the healthcare industry part of the market. Many people look at that and say, yes, that is a socialist endeavor. And by definition, there are elements of it that are. The government is getting involved in an industry, in this case, the healthcare industry. In a pure market economy, the government would have nothing to do with healthcare. But within the last administration, they've seen a need to create some sort of government interaction with this industry because they thought, based on their political views and their party views, that the free market of healthcare wasn't working out for many citizens. So based on their political beliefs and their administrative beliefs, they introduced this concept where the government was going to get involved. The government was going to attempt to provide some stability in the healthcare industry. They're going to attempt to provide some equality in the healthcare industry. So hopefully we made that concept clear of the interaction between economic systems and common social goals. Of course, we would love society to work well and be harmonious. that seems to do better for everybody rather than a society filled with shortages, famine, and war. So many people look at 5 common societal goals and then ask which economic system would help that group of people, that society, further those goals farther and more efficiently. And so while there are many economic systems out there that we have discussed in other podcasts, we have to question how each of those has benefits and costs in relation to these social goals and their interaction. As always, thanks for listening. If you have any questions, please bring those in. Otherwise, thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.